The epic battles fought against the Mongol Empire, a force that once swept across countries with unparalleled ferocity, are among the most dramatic stories in history. Strong opponents emerged to oppose Genghis Khan's descendants as they attempted to increase their power. These opponents were all resilient and resourceful. These valiant defenders changed the course of history from the beaches of Ain Jalut to the coasts of Japan, from the center of India to the battlefields of Hungary. In addition to stopping the Mongol march, their tales of bravery and strategic skill helped their countries develop new identities and demonstrated that even the strongest can be defeated with unyielding resolve. The Mongol composite bow's unrivaled reach. The composite bow, an engineering marvel made of wood, horn, and sinew, was the foundation of the Mongol military might. This was no typical weapon. It was small but mighty, able to shoot arrows at distances considerably greater than their opponents' bows. The Mongol composite bow could hit targets precisely up to 300 meters away, although the majority of modern bows had an effective range of only 150 meters. Mongol horse archers were able to use a devastating strategy because of their superior range. To safely avoid being hit by return fire, they would go close enough to the opponent to fire volleys of arrows. They could destroy enemy ranks from this unassailable vantage point without running a danger. This plan would be carried out by the Mongol cavalry in waves, charging forward, firing a barrage of arrows, and then withdrawing before the adversary could react. They would bleed the opposing forces dry, wave after wave. The last assault would be launched by the Mongols after the opponents had become sufficiently disorganized and weakened. The remaining enemy lines would be broken as their cavalry charged into the battle, taking advantage of openings. The Mongol army was an invincible force on the battlefield because of its ability to engage in both close combat and long-range harassment. The Battle of Ain Jalut. The Mamluks' valor in the Near East. The Mamluk Sultanate of Egypt stood out as a ray of hope amidst the looming darkness in the center of the Near East. A large portion of the Islamic world had already been devastated by the Mongols. The Abbasid Caliphate's crown jewel, Baghdad, had collapsed. Its people had been massacred, and its libraries had burned. The whole essence of Islamic culture appeared to be in jeopardy. However, the Mamluks were not your typical enemies. They knew the Mongols better than others because they were made up of former slaves who had risen through the ranks purely on their own merit and fighting skills. Many shared similar nomadic origins and were Turkic and Central Asian. Understanding that the Mongols were skilled at using quick cavalry maneuvers in open-field combat, the Mamluks took advantage of the terrain. They fought the Mongols with a smaller force while pretending to flee, concealing a sizable section of their army in the neighboring hills. The Mamluk reserves were ambushed as the Mongols pursued, certain of their imminent triumph. The fight was violent and disorderly. With unmatched savagery, the Mamluk heavy cavalry, armed with powerful swords and lances and covered in mail, charged. Their equally proficient archers engaged the Mongol volleys, arrow for arrow. The noises of warfare, including the thunder of hooves, the clash of steel, and the cries of warriors, filled the air, and the dust was heavy. The Mongols were in complete retreat by the end of the day, bruised and stunned. It was a huge victory at Ain Jalut. The Mongol Empire's westward advance came to an end with this, their first major loss. In addition to protecting their territory, the Mamluks had restored hope to an area that had been engulfed in despair. Their success was evidence of their strategic skill and unwavering will to defend their people and culture. The Far East, nature's intervention, and Japan's unwavering spirit. Japan's islands, almost half a world away, were also in danger of going extinct. Genghis Khan's grandson, Kublai Khan, aimed to increase Mongol power in the land of the rising sun. He sent enormous fleets with tens of thousands of Mongol, Chinese, and Korean warriors in 1274 and 1281. Japan's warrior class, the samurai, was up against an opponent unlike any they had ever encountered. On the battlefields of Japan, the Mongols brought new strategies and technology. Instead of fighting as distinct units, as was the samurai custom, the Mongols gained much territory during the first invasion, and the Japanese defenders were severely outnumbered. The samurai, however, picked things up quickly. They built walls and other fortifications to prevent Mongol landings after realizing they needed to adapt. They changed their strategy, focusing on coordinated defenses and group formations. When they could fight the enemy on their terms, the Mongols were forced to flee in 1274 because of an unexpected storm, destroyed the invading fleet in 1281. Thousands of soldiers lost their lives as ships were crushed against rocks or sucked up by the sea. These storms were interpreted by the Japanese as a sign of divine intervention, a heavenly endorsement of their cause, and a shield of protection for their motherland. Japan's independence was maintained by a mix of strong opposition and the wrath of nature. Japan's national identity and conviction in their special destiny, India. The Delhi Sultanate's elephantine might. The Delhi Sultanate oversaw the vast and varied territories that the Mongols came across on the Indian subcontinent. The Sultanate posed a serious threat because of its abundance of wealth and long history of military conquest. Between the 1220s to the 1300s, the Mongols attempted multiple invasions of India, but were consistently repulsed. The use of war elephants, enormous creatures that loomed over the battlefield, armored and carrying archers and javelin throwers on their backs, was one of the Sultanate's greatest advantages. Unaccustomed to such animals, the Mongol horses were frightened by the sight and sound of these elephants. Elephants with flaming torches fastened to their tusks were used by the Sultanate to charge into Mongol ranks and cause mayhem in engagements such as the defense of Delhi in 1306. Additionally, the Sultanate's forces had strong defenses and were skilled at siege warfare. Europe's awakening, Hungary's change, and willpower. As word of the Mongol horde's approach spread, Europe shuddered. In 1241, the Kingdom of Hungary was soundly defeated at the Battle of Mohi. By employing better strategies and intelligence, the Mongols outwitted and destroyed the Hungarian army. Villages were set on fire, people were killed or dispersed, and the nation was left defenseless. However, a renewed sense of resilience arose from this furnace of despair. King Béla IV realized that significant adjustments were necessary for survival. He started extensive changes to strengthen and reconstruct Hungary, with towers and massive walls built to endure protracted sieges. In conclusion, from the Mamluks at Ain Jalut and Japan's tenacious samurai to the Delhi Sultanate's war elephants and Hungary's strategic reforms, the epic conflicts against the Mongols in many different locations showed the strength of adaptability, solidarity, and resolve.